So one of the things the Templars and the people that set up the Templars and others used to worship was the Black Madonna. Now this is nothing to do with colour or race, it's to do with this reverse symbolism. If something is accepted by the population as white, portrayed as white, the Illuminati symbolism is it's black. When it's portrayed as black, the Illuminati symbolism is it's white. Everything is turned around. And this is why the classic symbol of Satanism is the five-pointed star reversed so it's pointing down. The Nazis turned the swastika around to indicate the negative for the same reason. Swastika is a very ancient symbol. And for the same reason, this worship of the goddess, you've got the Mother Lodge of Freemasonry in London, and where did they place it? Great Queen Street. Great Queen was one of the names they gave to Queen Semiramis. Also the Virgin Queen. And I love it when official history tells us that they named Virginia after the Virgin Queen, Queen Elizabeth I. I love it. She was no more a virgin than Madonna, that woman, was she? I mean, that's a bloody laugh. Virgin Queen, however, is Semiramis symbolism, part of the whole deal. Something else that happened in that 1307 purge in France and further afield was that the Templars, because they had a massive fleet of ships by this time, doing all their trade, they were just an absolute massive transnational corporation. They went round the west coast of Ireland, this is well documented in a number of books now, and they hid in Scotland, another group of them, and they eventually re-emerged under another name, the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry, the biggest secret society in terms of numbers in the world today, like I say, going through all business and banking, all the other stuff. And this, to a very large extent, at a place called Rosslyn, which is actually just down the road, literally about 3 minutes in a car, from the Rosslyn Institute, where they clone that sheep, Dolly. This is the church chapel, Rosslyn Chapel, that was built by the Sinclair family, as it was by then, but was actually originally in France the St. Clair family, and the St. Clair family were massively involved in the creation of the Templars. Eventually they moved to Scotland, became the Sinclairs, and they built this chapel, which is very much a holy grail for the Illuminati in many ways. And in the stonework you find depictions of aloe plants and other plants and cactus plants that were found at that time anyway only in the United States as it became. And that's significant because this chapel was built and the stonework put in many, many years before Columbus got in his ship, and official history says he discovered the Americas. These guys were there a long time before. So after this you had this big influx of people and the occupation of North America began, and the Native Americans were pushed back and put on reservations and what have you, and we had the nation built that has become, on the face of it, the most powerful nation on earth. And Francis Bacon wrote a book called The New Atlantis. Francis Bacon was an initiate of this network, wrote a book called The New Atlantis, which was looking forward to the new America. So then you had this colony in America, and then you had the time when the colonies apparently rebelled and wanted independence. A lot of the founding fathers, I'm not saying all of them, but a lot of the founding fathers, like Benjamin Franklin here, were Illuminati placemen. Their role was to move America from an in-your-face colonial dictatorship to a covert, controlled from Europe still, underground hidden hand dictatorship. While this guy was opposing royal rule from Britain, he was a bosom pal of the royal family of Britain. He was in a notorious secret society called the Hellfire Club, in which the royal family had members, and was run by a guy called Sir Francis Dashwood on his estate at Wickham, that was involved in horrendous bloody rituals and what have you, which again follow these bloodlines all the way through history. He was just there to ease the nature of the dictatorship from one to another. And interestingly, a few years ago, they had a £1.5 million grant to renovate his former house in Craven Street near Trafalgar Square into a museum to his life. And when they dug the floor up, this is what this is about, they found 10 bodies, 6 of them children, under his floor. And this story is talking about how the bodies have been connected to the time that he was there, and it says that he must have been into body snatching for medical research. When you realize what the Hellfire Club were up to, I think there could be an alternative explanation. And then you had the process of the new government of the United States, George Washington, aristocratic British bloodline, and so they went on all the way through to the present day. This guy was a high-degree Freemason, George Washington, one of the top ones, and he became the first president, no coincidence. Here's his apron. He must do a lot of washing up or something, I don't know. I can't believe it. I'm just putting the apron on, darling. He was also, apparently, I was reading, a member of the Knight of the Garter. This is a guy who opposed British control of America and was in this grouping around the Queen. Also, right the way through to the present day, the presidents are not only connected to the bloodline, they're fundamentally involved in the secret society network that puts the bloodlines into power. This is a picture taken in that Boston Freemasonic Lodge where we were walking around it. Franklin Delano Roosevelt, honorary Grand Master of the Order of de Molay. This comes from a guy called Jacques de Molay, who was the Grand Master of the Knights Templar in France at the time of the Purge in 1307. Bill Clinton was also a member of the Order de Molay. Right down to these people, fundamentally involved in the secret society network and the satanic networks. And when he was inaugurated in 2001, he actually swore the oath on the same Freemasonic Bible from the New York Lodge that George Washington had done back in 1789. So, they have a secret language, and when I get towards the end, there's a major reason why they have a secret language, because the way we're manipulated overwhelmingly is through the subconscious mind, what people call subliminals. And the language of the subconscious is symbolism to a very large extent, and you can manipulate the subconscious mind with symbolism, which I'll get to later. So you have this structure going through history, keeping this knowledge to the few and keeping the people in ignorance of it. And this is a book by a guy called James Churchward, who was a man who investigated the alleged existence of an ancient civilization called Mu or Lemuria in the Pacific, which is supposed to have gone down in great cataclysms and what have you. And he traveled to isolated monasteries in Asia, where he said he was shown tablets and accounts going back literally tens of thousands of years. And among the things he was shown, this is from his book, were a number of ancient symbols going way, way back into prehistory. And these are the symbols, to this day, of the Illuminati. That, of course, was what the Nazis picked up. And the Nazis were an occult, in the negative sense of the word, because there's a positive too, secret society. And there you have the Knights of Malta cross. These are not just picked out of the air. Oh, that looks a nice cross, we'll have that one. They mean something going way back, and I'll come to what that one is all about in a second as well. One of the great symbols of the Illuminati, which you see all the time, is the sun, because it represents illumination, illuminated into the knowledge the rest of the population don't get. And also, it's an understanding that the sun has a tremendous effect on life on Earth. 99% of the mass of the solar system is represented in the sun, and it sends out fantastic projections of energy which come to the Earth on what's called the solar wind, and they affect electrical systems and what have you here at their most powerful, and they certainly affect us and the way we react to events. And they follow these cycles all the time, these cycles of moon cycles and sun cycles, because they're having an effect on us, and sometimes they can play a card most effectively and sometimes less effectively. They're reading them all the time. While they're laughing at things like astrology and dismissing it, they're using it in a very, very detailed manner all the time. I know a number of astrologers around the world who are on retainers from the CEOs of transnational corporations who consult the astrologer on when to launch a new product, when to have a takeover bid and what have you, because they know that the energy matters. And so you find